Hi everyone, today we're going to be looking at the Modbus RTU TCP Remote I/O Controller BX-MBIO powering and configuring. Now, detailed information contained in the video can be found at accautomation.ca. A link has been put in the description below. If you have not watched the other videos yet, there will be links in the description below that will start you at video 1. There will be links to the rest of the videos in the series as well. So previously, we unpacked our BX Modbus I/O controller, and now we have the modules connected as well as powered up. We have our AC power coming in at 120 volt AC. We have used the DC power supply at 300 milliamps supply over to our analog input and our analog output card that we have here. So what we'll do is power this I/O controller up. As soon as we do, you'll notice that the lights start flashing. Then we have the error light will go off, so no errors on our configuration. And then our OK light is green, and our power light is green, indicating we have power coming in. Now the OK light is green. That is because our two analog cards are correctly wired and configured correctly, and we have the 24 volt supply coming to them. So that is our powering of our Modbus I/O controller. And you'll notice here that we have Ethernet port right now connected, and there's also the Modbus RTU port on our RS485 located right here. So to configure this module, what we do is we use a program called NetEdit 3, which is automatically downloaded when you download the Do More Designer software. And in my case here, I have version 2.7.4 already up. Now I don't have a program open. However, if I go down to Applications, I can hit NetEdit 3, and I can double click this to start it, or I can click it and hit Run, and it will call up my NetEdit 3 program. So what it will automatically do is scan out on the network and determine that I have a BX-MBIO module, which is my Modbus remote rack right now. And if we take a look at it, you can see here that I have an IP address automatically pre-assigned to this, and it's in brackets, meaning that it has automatically done this through DHCP server. What we're going to do is change that to a static address. The default also is ID number 1 or unit number 1. We have a name and we have a description. And this is the MAC address of that unit. So down here we have our module information. It shows my firmware versions, my switch settings that we showed last time in our unpacking video. They're all set off right now in the CPU revision. So then we also have some Ethernet statistics. So if this was actually communicating to my Modbus network through Ethernet, I would have some statistics right here that I can look at: lost packets, transmit, missed, and the bad packets, etc. So a little bit of diagnostics within this Net3. So if I go to MBIO settings, the first one is General. Now I can either double click this to get the General, or I just hit General. And what you'll notice up here is that we have our module, the model ID or the unit number is number 1. We'll leave that as default. Our name, we can change this name to something meaningful on our network. We're going to leave that the same. Then we have a description to actually describe what this is actually doing. Next, we'll have our set the IP address, and I always like to set a static IP address so we know exactly where we're talking. And we'll set this to 135. our subnet mask, 55, and our gateway, 192.168.1.1. So that is our settings there, and we'll just hit OK. Once we hit OK, that'll change those settings. You'll notice that we don't have brackets anymore around the IP address. So under Advanced Setting, you will notice that we can change our default Ethernet Modbus port. Now default comes to 502, however we can change that to whatever port that we'd like to use. So we're just going to cancel that because we're going to leave it at 502. We have a serial port communication, and under a serial port communication you will see that we have a baud rate of 115,200, which is the maximum. Our data bits 8, stop bit 1, and a parity none. We can also use the request to send transmission and put delays on that signal. So we're going to leave everything as default, but there are the settings that if we need to change them, that's where we would change them. Then we have our start web-based configuration, and we have configure modules. Now with this latest version of NetEdit, we configure everything via the web now on this module. So if we even hit the configure module, it'll actually refer us to the web enabled one. So we're going to start the web, and it looks like that. So once again, this is my now I'm configuring it via the web browser, and you can see my module name, my module description, etc. So that is how to do that. Now let's go back to web edit first of all, and let's take a look at show base contents. And you can see here it shows me my base of 0, which has my 4 inputs and 4 outputs. It has my next one, my analog input, shows me my 8-channel analog in. It also shows me my registers for my Modbus in order to access that information. Then in slot number 3, we have our analog output card, and again it shows me there's 8 analog output and the Modbus address for that. So let's just close that one down. And then the other two we have is update firmware and update booter. So we can let's actually do that. Let's update our firmware, and we know the update firmware is valid because we have this asterisk up here in our chart. So let's just update the firmware. It'll automatically default to the latest version, and we'll hit OK. And you will hit yes. We'll continue doing that. So periodically the firmware will be updated. In our particular case, this is what we're looking for, and we are actually, you notice it's taking it out of my OK light. I have a flashing red light now, and it'll be erasing and writing that information into the controller to update that firmware that we have. You'll notice it doesn't take all that long to finish our writing, and we don't want to really disturb this process or remove power from the unit while this is happening. And then we have to reboot the device. You'll see it's coming back on, and I'm actually getting a orange light right now, and it says the firm light has been complete. So we'll just hit OK. And you'll notice my firmware light right now is now off, so there is no other recent updates. Then we can update our booter, and again it goes to the latest version. Hit OK, and once again we're going to update that information. And so it's erasing the flash. And then we'll start that update process for us. Now we're describing everything you can do with this module so that when you get it, you can start programming it right away. And you can see right now the configuration is very straightforward on our Modbus communication. And once again, while this is writing and updating the booter, we want to make sure that we have no power interruptions. And once this is complete, it will actually we'll probably need a power cycle to the controller itself. And just a couple more minutes here and we'll have that updated and ready to go. Okay, now the device is rebooting. And then we should be all set to go, and it has rebooted. And then again, it gives me a notice that I must recycle or cycle power, so we'll do that. Hit OK. And now let's just cycle power on that unit again. Turn it back on. And now that it's back on, you'll see again that our firmware and our booter have now been updated, so we do not see the asterisks anymore on there. And then at any time, what we can do is restore factory default settings. So let's go back to our web-based configuration. And what you'll see is if we want to go to Automation Direct, we just hit this link. Our module name, just like we did before, if we open that up, you can see that we can actually change our name here. We'll go back. And then if we want to change the module description, we can do that as well. You'll see here that our IP address setting is located right here with our gateway. Again, we want to change that. You click on it and we can change it. Go back. Our serial port, we can change our serial. Go back, and this is all through a web browser. Set up the module configuration. So here we have our setup. So here we have our 8-point 4 in 4 out mixed module. We have our analog input, and we can enable or we can disable all the ranges. And all the ranges, we're going to put 0 to 10. And on the output, 0 to 10. Okay. And we can send that. And we can enable just one channel. There we go. And we'll just send that information to the module. There we go. So we have that all set up. And then what we can also do is display the Modbus I/O mapping. So here's my inputs, outputs. Here's my input word, output word for my one channel. If I had more channels, it would actually then list all those channels. I have diagnostics that I could actually put in here for the module itself, telling me what module error we have, the bit and the link monitor module timeout. So we also have firmware versions, MAC address, dip switch settings, IP address that we can actually get from our Modbus module. So that is our IP or Modbus IO mapping that we will need when we start communicating through either a client or a master, depending on whether we're doing RTU, Modbus RTU serially, that'd be a master, or our client, which is Ethernet to our server. And again, this Modbus BX Modbus IO controller acts as a server or a slave unit on the network. So let's go back here. And then we have firmware updates. Again, tells you where to download them. We have NetEdit if you want to just download the NetEdit program and not the whole Do More Designer. You can do that as well. And then we have the user manuals for this information, as well as the specification sheets. So if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button below. If you have any questions about the video, please leave a comment below and I'll do my best to answer it. If you want more information about us, or you want our free ebooks on numbering systems or robust data logging, please click on the link in the description below to get it. A new video is put out every Monday, so make sure you hit the subscribe button so you get more videos like this in the future. Remember to click the bell beside your subscription to actually receive those notifications. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Stay safe.